Can we start? Yep, okay. So I'm disconnected, and I'm going to speak about two things. First thing first, who is using Docker here? Raise your hand. Okay, second thing, who is using alpine Docker images? Raise your hand. Okay, some of you do. So the problem with alpine is that like a few days ago, or maybe today, there was a CVE, which is like a common vulnerability, whatever. So basically, Talos, which is a team from Cisco, found a bug in Alpine Docker image, which is that the root account in the Alpine user image has a hard-coded credentials, which means basically that the password for the root user in the Docker image of Alpine is empty. Which in theory means that if someone hacks your application, which is hosted in a Docker image based on Alpine, and even if you switch to another user, then in theory, they should be able to escalate their privileges to the root user because the password is empty. So the thing also with this vulnerability is that when there are CVEs for vulnerabilities, they also get the CVS score, which is like a severity or impact of the thing, and the maximum value is 10. So it's very critical vulnerability in theory, because the thing is that it's not that real. So let's see an example here. So if you would like to check whether your Docker container is actually vulnerable to it, you would usually do something like this in the container. So you would look over the etc shadow file because it contains data whether certain user has password or not, and what's the hash of this password. So if I type it here, you can see that the root user has this exclamation mark here on the second column. This means that you cannot log into the root user with password. So the only way to log into the root account here on this machine is to be in the sudoers group as a user. So let's see how is it with oh shit. Okay, so let's see how is it with Alpine Docker images. So here I have some kind of bash loop which is like going through 1 to 9. Then it will print some kind of date and also the Alpine version here. And then it will create a Docker container with a given Alpine version. And it will also print this etc shadow here. Oh, I pressed enter, so there is one more new line there. But basically, as you can see, the last 4 images of Alpine has this exclamation mark. Then 3.5 to 3.3 doesn't, then 3.1 and 3.2 has it. So if you are using 3.3, 3.4, or 3.5, you are probably vulnerable to that. If you are using the latest, you might be, I think, I'm not sure, because it might be that they were vulnerable but were patched, I don't know. So it's good to check it. But the thing is, the CVS score for this vulnerability is 9.8, but it shouldn't be like this because the impact is not that high. Because the thing is that even if you get access to this Alpine 3.5, for example, okay. Okay, let me launch SH on this Alpine image. And so maybe let's do clear so it will be at the top. And how would I get to the root user from here? Okay, wait, I am a root user actually. So maybe I will first start some Docker image that will do some magic here. Okay. Let me remove some stuff from here. Oh, maybe let me also do this, which will, in theory, make it easier. So basically, my image inherits from Alpine 3.5. Then I add user. Then I also do change mode for bin SU. And then I spawn the container with the user. Okay, I built the image from this Docker file and started it. So so we see who am I? I'm user. And now if I would try to use SU to log into the root, it's network connection. It asks me for password here, but it says incorrect password, which I don't really understand. But the thing is that I also did something like this. Yeah, network connection. Something similar in the Docker file. And this made it so that the SU binary is a set UID binary. But normally it wouldn't be. And the set UID means that if you are running the binary, it is run with the privileges of the user who is the owner, and the owner is root. So that's why I can see this prompt for password here, which I don't know why it doesn't let me in. But the thing is that normally it would say me, oh, this SU binary is not it doesn't have the set UID bit, so you cannot really do anything useful with that. So even though there is this vulnerability, there is probably very small chance that you are vulnerable to this thing. And you might be vulnerable if you are, for example, running an OpenSSH on Alpine Docker image, because that would mean, and you didn't like configure it in a way that would prevent root user from logging in. Yeah. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about are two PEPs from Python, which is PEP 578, which is Python runtime audit hooks. And this PEP is actually accepted, which is cool and was accepted recently. It says it's going to be in 3.8, but it's not there yet. Maybe it will be there at the released version. There is also PEP 551, which is security transparency, the Python runtime, which is a draft, but maybe it will get accepted at some point. So let's see at this PEP. So this PEP is meant to let you hook into everything that's happening inside a CPython, so that you can audit it. It doesn't necessarily is there to create a sandbox. Like that's not. It doesn't let you prevent doing some actions, but in theory you can actually implement some kind of sandbox with it. But they didn't really went with a sandbox way because they already tried some sandbox things in Python in the past, but it didn't work well. Like each time, someone found some bypass for that. Okay, so I have actually here a repository with this implementation of this audit hooks, and this actually adds to you two functions in the sys modules. One is add audit hook, and I can, for example, pass print here. And the second one is sys audit for like triggering this audit hook function if you want to write some tests for it. But since I added audit hook here, now whatever I will do here will be audited with the function I provided. So if I try to, for example, import something like import OS, then we can see that an exec function was run and a compile function was run, and then it imported the module actually. I don't understand why we don't see that it imported the module, but let's see, for example, accessing OS system and do maybe pwd. So here we can also see the exec, and then we can see the system with the argument that was provided there. So this would let you to filter like whatever is happening inside of the CPython. Okay, one more question here. Why do we see the execs here? An idea? Like if I try 1 + 1, we'll also see exec here. Yeah, because it's Python interpreter, so whatever you type in, it's a string that's being passed to a program that's run there, right? Which is probably a Python script, I don't know. But the thing is that it needs to be compiled into the CPython bytecode and then run. So that's why we see compile. Oh, actually, we see exec, so it's executed, not compile, which is, and we see compile here. I don't know why it's this direction, but yeah. Okay, and that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Does anyone have a problem with long-running processes? Does any one of you is doing something with machine learning? Raise your hand. Yeah, some people. So the main problem to me is that actually the same as in this picture, but not compiling, but it's learning. So you run a model and it's learning and it learns and it learns and it learns, and you wait for your cluster to be opened so you could try another thing. So I found one useful package which is called Telegram Send that solves kind of this problem. What it does is, if you create a bot chat in Telegram, which is quite easy, like that, we created a bot, and now we can actually install Telegram Send. Ta-da! And we can configure it. And what we need to do to connect that thing with our bot is to give it this token right here. Yeah, it's a completely new bot that I will delete, so no problem. Okay. The one thing that I'm missing is here. And now we can copy that code, 59633. Yep, and now it's connected, and now we can do Telegram send and some message. And it's just here. And we can use it in a fancy way because we can use alias, which is provided just right here. Come on. And do something like echo, no, maybe even date. I'm not sure if it works. Date, and it was something like that, right? Yeah. Which one was it? No. The thing is that it should work a bit different. So yeah, and it's here. It's not the command, but anyway, it will give you a message on phone. So whenever you are meditating or taking a dog for a walk, when the machine is learning, then you can use that to know that it's just the end. And it's of course it's a Python module, so you have more options like sending photos or something, sending to group. And that's it. Thank you.
Now it's better? Okay, so my name is Łukasz. I am structural engineer and Python programmer also. And I talk about making rapport with Python when the Jupyter is not what you need, and it can't make what you want. So the problem with Jupyter is that the output from Jupyter looks strange for non-programmer people, and it uses some format what is not Python file. So we can't import data from one notebook to another. And also, this is not enough dynamic as I want. But generally, the Jupyter is great, so of us use it. And the idea was to keep the Python format file, put markdown syntax inside Python to get the output report. So we still can use the file as normal Python script and execute it. We want to make possible to change some input parameter from the report, and make possible to display some stuff like image matplotlib or svg, etc. So there is a Logger and CPy project I've made. The CPy is for Python 2 and Logger is for Python 3. Both are available through PyPy, so you can just use pip to install them. The main idea is to put some additional syntax inside Python comment to define the output report. And this is how it looks like. On the left side we have the report in the program, and on the right side this is a script that create the report. One example, second example, and more complicated for structural engineering calculation. There is few features that it already support, and I make quick demonstration. Example of so if we have, for example, parabola example, and the script looks like this. This is all you need to write to have report like this, and here you have access to change some parameters. For example, you can change, and it is recalculate. The report is dynamic change. Also, matplotlib figure is displayed. I use this program to create reports in my job. For example, this is one. There is project description, some calculation, and also a list of drawing, for example. And the report can be printed to PDF, and then it look like this here. So this is the part of project I made, for example. And here is the project info. You can find documentation on red dots, and that's all. I think this is quite a flexible program for Python programming, especially for beginners, I think. Thank you.